Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you my predicted 11 for Manchester United's game against Norwich. So I'm going to go with the 4-2-2 formation. So in goal I'm going to go with David De Gea. David De Gea was in goal for our last league game against Crystal Palace. He had very little to do in that game. He was only called into action from long range efforts. De Gea was not in goal for the game against Young Boys. Obviously Dean Henderson was in goal for the game against Young Boys, and to Dean Henderson's credit he did quite well. He made some good saves and he was proactive off his line. It was Dean Henderson's second appearance this season. But revert back to De Gea, I think De Gea's done really well this season. This season is his 11th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. He's been with us since the Ferguson era. He has won everything domestically at the football club, and he's made over 500 appearances for Man United in all competitions. He's got under 2 years left on his contract, and he receives £375,000 a week. Revert back to last summer, De Gea reclaimed the #1 spot back because he decided to cut short his holiday by 2 weeks to fight for the starting place, and it did mention that De Gea was determined to fight for his Man United future. At right back, I'm going to go with Diego Dalot, as Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a doubt for this game against Norwich. Aaron Wan-Bissaka came off injured at the end of the game against Young Boys. Bissaka was poor against Young Boys. His positioning was poor, and he was partly to blame for the Young Boys' equaliser because he didn't react fast enough to Donny van der Beek's pass. Dalot, he started Manchester United's last 2 league games. Dalot played well against Crystal Palace last weekend. He also played well in the 3-2 win against Arsenal. Last season, Dalot had a loan spell with AC Milan, and reflecting on that, he gained some experience. Manchester United got Dalot from Porto for around £19 million. Dalot could leave Manchester United next year. The 2 centre-halves, I'm going to go with Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire. Lindelof or Maguire didn't play any part against Young Boys recently. The 2 centre-halves we went with against Young Boys was Eric Bailly and Nemanja Matic. Lindelof, he played in the game against Crystal Palace last weekend, and I thought he put an impressive performance out. But despite that, I still have my reservations about Lindelof. Lindelof has been at Manchester United for around 5 years, Manchester United got Lindelof from Benfica back in 2017 for around £31 million. Harry Maguire, he played against Crystal Palace last weekend, and to his credit he put a good performance out, but it was the best game Harry Maguire endured for a while. You know, Maguire has had a lot of poor games this season. Revert back to earlier on in the season, Maguire had a calf injury, and revert back towards the end of last season, Maguire had ligament damage in his ankle. Earlier on this season, Maguire got 2 yellow cards in the 4-1 defeat to Watford, so reflecting on that, he got sent off. He got a 1-game suspension, didn't he? I'm hoping under Ralph Rangnick, Maguire can regain his form. Manchester United got Maguire for 80 million. So he's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment and the second most expensive signing at the club. Left back, I'm going to go with Alex Telles. Telles obviously didn't play against Young Boys recently. Luke Shaw made his comeback against Young Boys. To Luke Shaw's credit, he put a decent performance out against Young Boys. He showed good attacking intent. He got into some good positions and he got the assist for the Mason Greenwood goal. Luke Shaw was out with a concussion not so long ago. Prior to the game against Young Boys, Alex Telles started Manchester United's last 4 games and he was very impressive. And I did say after the 1-0 win against Palace that Telles is undroppable at the moment. Telles actually could have scored against Crystal Palace last weekend, because he had some good chances in that game. One chance he hit the crossbar from a free kick. And against Palace as well, Telles provided width and energy to Manchester United's attacks. Earlier on this season, Telles had an injury. The reason Manchester United brought Telles in was to provide competition for Luke Shaw. Man United got Telles for 15.4 million with add-ons included. Telles could leave Manchester United next year. Now, the 2 centre defensive midfielders, I'm going to go with Fred and Scott McTominay. Fred obviously didn't play any part against Young Boys. Fred played last weekend against Crystal Palace and he put a fantastic performance out. Fred scored a stunning goal late on. It wasn't only the goal-wise performance was good against Palace. I thought his movement was good in the game. He got forward well. He kept the ball well. And his passing was sublime. Fred also played very well in the 3-2 win against Arsenal because in that game he got an assist and he also won the penalty because he got brought down by Martin Odegaard in the 6-yard box. Fred played well in the 1-1 draw against Chelsea earlier on in the season. Don't forget he squandered a chance in that game that came from a mistake from Mendy. I'm hoping Fred can continue with these good performances and then my perceptions will start to change on him. Manchester United got Fred for around 50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk a few years ago now. Scott McTominay, he obviously played no part against Young Boys. I don't think Mctominay is good enough to represent the club, even though Mctominay has had his good games at Manchester United. One of the best games I recall Mctominay having was the 6-2 win against Leeds last season, because he scored twice in that game. I think it was the opening 3 minutes he scored twice. But Mctominay, he probably needs more time. He's still young. He's got a lot of development in him. Mctominay has been part of the club for a long time, don't forget. Now, the two attacking midfielders, I'm going to go with Bruno Fernandez and Jaden Sancho. Obviously, Bruno Fernandez didn't play any part against Young Boys recently. Bruno Fernandez played last weekend against Crystal Palace. Fernandez had his chances in that game, but Fernandez could not convert them chances. Fernandez, of course, played in the 3-2 win against Arsenal the other week, and he scored in that game. Bruno Fernandez has endured poor games this season. But there again, Fernandez has endured a lot of games where he's been consistent at Manchester United. Let's put into the equation that Fernandez starts the vast majority of Manchester United's games. So reflecting on that, he will get fatigue. Fernandez is one of our best players, and he's certainly one of the best signings we've made since Ferguson retired. Fernandez has been a Manchester United player for almost 2 years. We got Fernandez from Sporting Lisbon back in January 2020. Revert back to earlier on this season, Fernandez did make it clear that he wants to stay at Man United. And when he first came to Man United, he said, "I've come to Manchester to win trophies." Fernandez has got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further 12 months. Revert back to earlier on in the season, there was narratives coming out saying that, Fernandez was close to extending his contract. As for Jaden Sancho, he obviously wasn't part of the squad for the game against Young Boys recently. Sancho played last week against Crystal Palace. He was very good in the first half against Crystal Palace, but I thought he faded away in the second half. Sancho wasn't too bad in the 3-2 win against Arsenal. Sancho was very good in the 2-0 win against Villarreal and the 1-1 draw with Chelsea, because Sancho scored in both of them games. Sancho has scored 2 goals for Manchester United so far. But since Solskjaer got sacked, Sancho has really improved. Revert back to when Man United had Solskjaer, we couldn't get the best out of Sancho because Solskjaer persistently played him out of position. And there again, there was quite a few games Sancho wasn't even involved in under Ole. So it's good to see that Sancho's starting to settle in now. Sancho endured 4 good years with Borussia Dortmund before, he come to Man United. Man United got Sancho in a deal worth 78 million. Manchester United paid around 73 million up front, with the rest in add-ons. He's got a contract with Man United till June 2026. There's an option of a further year. And the 2 strikers, I'm going to go with Cristiano Ronaldo and Marcus Rashford. Obviously, Ronaldo and Rashford played no part against Young Boys recently. Ronaldo, of course, played last weekend against Crystal Palace. so too did Marcus Rashford. He played last weekend against Crystal Palace. Ronaldo had chances last weekend against Crystal Palace, but he couldn't convert them. Ronaldo was actually a doubt for the game against Crystal Palace, because prior to the game, reports were saying that Ronaldo was suffering a knee issue. He said he got the knee problem when he was celebrating in Man United's 3-2 win against Arsenal. Ronaldo got a brace in the 3-2 win against Arsenal, including the winner from the penalty. Ronaldo now has 801 goals in his career, and Ronaldo has 12 goals for Manchester United in all competitions since he re-signed. He is the best player in the world overall. Ronaldo's back-to-back awards as well since he re-signed. Revert back to October, he got named Player of the Month, and revert back to September, he got named Premier League Player of the Month. Ronaldo has won over 30 trophies in his playing career, including 5 Ballon d'Ors. He has got a contract with Man United until 2023. There's an option of a further year. Ronaldo receives £480,000 a week. He's the highest earner at Man United. He wears the number 7 shirt, and Man United got Ronaldo for £19.8 million with add-ons included. And Marcus Rashford, I thought he was quite poor against Crystal Palace last weekend. I thought his decision making was poor. His movement at times was good against Palace, and he got some good runs in behind, but apart from that was poor. And he looked sloppy on the ball. Rashford weren't that good in the 3-2 win against Arsenal, but he still managed to get an assist in that game. At one point, Rashford was out with a shoulder injury for a while, and at one point he had to have an operation on his shoulder. Rashford's been part of the club for a long time. He's been a Man United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. So he's been in our senior squad now for a good 5.5, 6 years. He's got a contract with Man United until 2023. So anyway, that's how I think Manchester United could line up against Norwich on Saturday at Carrow Road. As you all know, Manchester United have got some injuries. The most recent player to get injured was Pisaka, like I mentioned earlier on. Martial picked up an injury not so long ago. Martial doesn't really get in the team anyway. Varane, he's still out with a hamstring injury. Cavani's still out with injury, and of course Pogba is out with a thigh injury. Pogba's out for the rest of the year with the thigh injury. This game against Norwich will be Ralph Rangnick's first Premier League away game as Manchester United manager. So far, Rangnick has managed 2 games as Man United manager in all competitions. He's won 1 and he's drawn 1. Rangnick is Manchester United's interim manager until the end of the season. And then after that, it said Rangnick will take a consultancy role for a further 2 years. If Rangnick was to do a good job as the interim manager at Man United, I think there's a chance that he will get the Man United job on a permanent basis. Ralph Rangnick has been given a £100 million transfer budget for January. You can get quite a few players with that. Obviously, Ralph Rangnick wants Amadou Haidara from RB Leipzig. Amadou Haidara has a £33 million release clause. Manchester United are now interested in Frankie de Jong from Barcelona. I'm hearing Man United have expressed an interest in Rudiger from Chelsea. Revert back to the other week, the Manchester Evening News said that Ralph Rangnick wants a Timo Werner reunion at Man United. Ralph Rangnick needs to invest in January if he is to succeed at Manchester United. Before Manchester United, Ralph Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. But anyway, Manchester United are coming into this game against Norwich on the back of a 1-1 draw with Young Boys. Obviously in the game against Young Boys, Ralph Rangnick heavily rotated because obviously it was a meaningless game because Manchester United are already in to the last 16 of the Champions League. Obviously in the game against Young Boys we saw Mason Greenwood score a good volley, and obviously Fabian Rieder equalised for Young Boys. Obviously we saw Charlie Savage come on in the game. He made his debut for Man United. Charlie Savage is the son of Robbie Savage. Tom Eaton came on in the game. He made his first team debut. Man United got Tom Eaton on a free transfer from Villa. Zidane Iqbal, he came on and made his debut as well. And also Menge and Shortire came on. Manchester United won the last league game against Crystal Palace 1-0. I am expecting Manchester United to beat Norwich comfortably. I reckon Norwich are the worst team in the division. Norwich are rock bottom. Norwich will be going down this season. The last time Manchester United played Norwich was in the FA Cup last year, and Manchester United beat Norwich 2-1 after extra time. Norwich, they're coming into this game on the back of a 3-0 defeat to Tottenham. I do know quite a few of the players Norwich have got. Revert back to what I mentioned on the preview. Obviously, they've got Josh Sargent. They got Josh Sargent last summer. They've also got Adam Ida. They've got Timu Pukki. Timu Pukki is probably one of Norwich's best players. Good player is Timu Pukki. They've also got Billy Gilmore. Billy Gilmore was at Chelsea at one point. They've also got Matthias Norman. He's out with injury at the moment. They've also got Rashika. He's out with injury at the moment. Zimmerman, he's another player that Norwich have got injured. Norwich have also got Grant Hanley. They've got Todd Cantwell. I do really like Todd Cantwell. Norwich have also got Max Aarons. I really like Max Aarons. Manchester United went in for him a while ago. Max Aarons is a fullback. Norwich have also got Kabak. Norwich have got Brandon Williams. Don't forget Brandon Williams is on loan at Norwich from Manchester United. Brandon Williams will not be able to play in this game because it's his parent club. Norwich have also got Sam Byron, and Norwich's first choice goalkeeper is Tim Krul. So they are quite a few of the players that Norwich have got. Don't forget they did offload Brandidia, or however you pronounce his name. Well, he did go to Aston Villa. They did also offload Ben Godfrey. Was it a couple of years ago now? Obviously Ben Godfrey went to Everton from Norwich. The Norwich manager is Dean Smith. Norwich appointed Dean Smith in earlier on in the season. Dean Smith did sign a 2.5-year contract. Dean Smith got sacked by Aston Villa earlier on this season. Before Dean Smith, Norwich had Daniel Farke. Obviously, Norwich ended up sacking Daniel Farke. Manchester United's next game after Norwich is Brentford. Manchester United have got winnable games coming up. I can assure at the end of the season that Manchester United will get a permanent manager. Like I said, it could be Rangnick, if he does a good job. Obviously, Pochettino has been spoken about. I still believe Pochettino is the favourite to become Manchester United's next permanent manager. Obviously, Roberto Mancini was mentioned the other week because it did say that Manchester United consider hiring Roberto Mancini instead of Mauricio Pochettino. But recently it said that Roberto Mancini denied becoming Manchester United's next permanent boss. At one point Rodgers was mentioned earlier on in the season, and Erik ten Hag is also linked with a permanent role at Manchester United. Now, Edwin van der Sar recently spoke out on Manchester United's interest in Erik ten Hag, and Edwin van der Sar believes Ajax could lose Erik ten Hag in the summer. We'll revert back to earlier on in the season. It said Erik ten Hag is said to be interested in the Manchester United job, and Ajax will not stand in his way if he wants to leave at the end of the season. Edwin van der Sar expects a future role at Manchester United. I'd love to see Edwin van der Sar come back to Man United. Edwin van der Sar is a former Manchester United goalkeeper. Van der Sar is obviously CEO at Ajax. He's worked as a CEO at Ajax since 2016. So there you go. Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson. Man United sacked David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, and of course, over 2 weeks ago now, Manchester United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes, below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very soon.